Welcome to Episode 21, Audit and Accountability, Part 1. Every security program depends on knowing what happened, when it happened, and who was involved. Audit logs provide that memory. Without them, investigations rely on guesswork and assurance becomes storytelling instead of evidence. Logging is the foundation of accountability, the quiet observer that allows every other control to prove its value. When done well, logs illuminate both routine operations and unexpected events, helping teams verify compliance, detect anomalies, and learn from incidents. When done poorly, they overwhelm storage, violate privacy, or fail to record the very actions that matter. The goal is to make logging intentional, complete enough to reveal truth, selective enough to stay useful, and consistent enough to earn trust. Building from that principle, audit logs capture the events that define system activity. They record who did what, from where, and when. A login attempt, a configuration change, a file access, or an administrative action, all are examples of auditable events. The details, timestamp, identity, device, result, form the trail that allows analysts to reconstruct behavior. Logs do not just describe events, they confirm that controls operated and users acted within policy. When properly structured, a single line in a log becomes a sentence in the larger story of system integrity. Each entry is a footprint of accountability, showing not only that something occurred, but that it was noticed and preserved. Scope defines where to look. Systems, identities, and networks all produce evidence worth collecting. System logs capture what software and hardware do. Identity logs track who performed the action, linking user accounts to authentication events. Network logs show how data flows between systems, exposing movement that might signal intrusion. Combining these perspectives gives a full picture. Identity explains who, system reveals what, and network shows how. Narrowing scope too tightly leaves blind spots. Widening it indiscriminately creates clutter. Each organization must define scope by risk, not by convenience, ensuring the most critical assets always remain under watch. Accurate time synchronization makes logs meaningful. Without consistent time, sequences blur and correlations break down. Every device, from servers to routers, must align to a trusted time source using protocols like Network Time Protocol or its secure variants. Time precision matters too. Seconds may suffice for high-level events, but milliseconds can decide forensic truth in rapid attacks. Consistent timestamps let investigators trace events across systems without confusion. When times drift, accountability drifts with them. Precision in time is precision in truth. Unique identifiers and correlation keys connect events that belong to the same session or transaction. A user login may generate authentication records in one system, access approvals in another, and data transfers in a third. Correlation keys, such as session IDs, transaction numbers, or trace tokens, tie them together into a single narrative. This linking enables cross-system analytics and accurate incident reconstruction. Without identifiers, investigations become puzzles with missing pieces. With them, logs transform into a coherent timeline that exposes both cause and consequence. Correlation turns scattered entries into stories that auditors and responders can actually follow. Visibility must include both success and failure. Many organizations focus solely on failed logins or denied actions, forgetting that successful ones often reveal more. Attackers who gain valid credentials produce a trail of legitimate successes. Likewise, an overly strict policy that generates constant failures hides meaningful signals among noise. Balance means recording both types of outcomes and interpreting them together. Success shows what happened. Failure shows what was attempted. Understanding the ratio helps detect drift, abuse, or weakness. Visibility without bias ensures that accountability reflects reality, not only alarm. Privacy, minimization, and retention boundaries define how long logs stay useful without turning into liabilities. Audit data often includes sensitive information, usernames, IP addresses, even content fragments. Collect only what is necessary for security and compliance, mask or tokenize sensitive fields when possible, and define clear retention schedules. Keep logs long enough to support investigations and audits, but not so long that they expose users to unnecessary risk. Privacy and accountability share the same goal, protecting people through transparency and control. A responsible logging program knows when to keep, when to redact, and when to delete. Prioritizing high-value sources early prevents overload and focuses effort. Start with systems that directly support authentication, privileged actions, and data movement, identity providers, administrative consoles, and core applications. Expand outward as maturity grows. High-value sources give maximum insight for minimum data volume. A good rule is to log deeply where risk is high and broadly where patterns reveal behavior. Early prioritization keeps budgets realistic and helps teams refine taxonomy and correlation before scale adds complexity. Success builds from strong, selective beginnings. Normal operations and edge scenarios both deserve coverage. Logs must show the routine baseline, who logs in, what processes run, what normal traffic looks like, so that anomalies stand out. Edge scenarios capture what happens during restarts, failures, or emergency actions. Many breaches exploit these quiet corners where logging falters. Simulate outages, failovers, and maintenance events to confirm that logs still write, rotate, and ship to storage. A complete audit trail should persist even when systems are under stress. Continuity is credibility. Clearly defining owners, reviewers, and responders keeps logs alive rather than forgotten. Owners ensure systems produce the right events. Reviewers verify quality and completeness. Responders analyze and act when anomalies appear. Each role needs training and documented handoffs. Logging without ownership becomes data hoarding. Ownership transforms it into awareness. Accountability applies not just to users, but to the logging process itself. When everyone knows their part, logs evolve from passive records into active defense. Policies, procedures, and standards tie the whole ecosystem together. Logging policies define scope and retention. Procedures describe configuration and review routines. Standards specify formats and time accuracy. Alignment across these levels keeps implementation consistent even when tools change. A policy without a procedure remains abstract, while a procedure without standards produces uneven results. Together, they ensure that logs are reliable evidence under any audit or investigation. Consistency across policy layers builds trust across time. Common misconceptions can derail even good intentions. One is believing that more logs automatically mean better visibility. Without structure, more often means confusion. Another is thinking logs must capture everything forever. Retention without reason wastes resources and increases privacy risk. Quick wins come from structured improvement, enabling logging on critical systems first, standardizing timestamps, and defining clear alert thresholds. Small, disciplined steps outperform massive, chaotic data collection. In logging, quality always outweighs quantity. In closing, an intent-driven logging strategy ties technology to purpose. Every log exists to serve a question. Who did what, when, and why does it matter? When organizations design their audit and accountability systems around those questions, evidence becomes meaningful, privacy stays protected, and responses become swift. Logs are the record of truth for every digital action. Treat them not as clutter to store, but as clarity to preserve, the quiet instrument that makes trust visible. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.